Welcome into the Players Club, presented by Pepsi. The Players Club is presented by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders. And in part by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. Now for your hosts, London Fletcher, Santana Moss, and Sean Springs.
Welcome to another edition of the Players Club. London Fletcher, as always, Santana Moss.
Yep.
Bluefoot, Sean Springs, man. Fellas, it's that time, man. We got a great show. We're going to talk about the Dallas Cowboys. Obviously, Dallas week hits a little bit different around here. We'll get into that matchup, preview that. We got Mike Sainristil.
Ooh,
man, that rookie cornerback is playing some good football.
Like
But fellas, man, we're going to get this started off. We're going to kind of look back to the game against the Philadelphia Eagles. And although we lost, there were some guys who played well, and we got to hand out dubs of the week.
Yes, sir.
Got to put the chain on, man. Yeah. Chain on. So, looking back, man, and I'll start with you, Blue. Dubs of the week. Who you gonna give your dubs of the week
Man,
from that game against the
y'all already know
Eagles?
I got an inherent bias towards Frankie Louvu. 2 sacks.
Yeah.
Yes.
In London, I keep telling this, what sticks out in my mind is when we brought him here from Carolina, we were thinking linebacker.
Yeah.
And then a few weeks back, you talked about his moves and you pointed something out like, man, this guy got rush moves. I didn't know he had those moves.
Yeah.
And it shows.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy's a force in the pass game. He can drop, he can cover, but he is he was my dub of the week, man. I just think the kid just shows up each week, and 2 sacks are big.
Yeah. I think, it's hard to give out dubs when you took an L, but I think if it's one guy I want to shine a light on, it'll be Austin Eckler.
Yeah.
I think
well.
Eckler has been tremendous. How people fail to realize, especially kids, they look at these games, they look at, our game and say, do you start? Are you a starter? And it's crazy. It wasn't until I got my position changed later in my career when I became a slot guy primarily to where I understood that it's you have to have some kind of valuable, you got to have a value of, what your role consists of.
Right.
Yeah.
And I value my role so much to whereas I knew that when I'm coming in the game on third down, it's to move the chains. It's to make sure that if everybody else telling you get open. And so when I watched Austin go to work, man, watching his career when he was in L.A. and San Diego, and to see him here now, still can run the ball between the tackles, but his role is so huge for what he does for us offensively.
He goes to work.
I mean, if even if he's not the primary guy, he's the guy. You know what I mean? So I got to give him a dub, man. He had 80-something plus yards receiving for us and just kept finding a way to move the chain. I think that was our worst performance when it came to moving the chains on third down. But when we did, he was behind it most of the time.
And what you're talking about is starring in your role.
Yeah. Yep.
And he's starting that role. The thing about Eckler that impresses me is yak.
Yeah.
Yards after catch, yards after contact. I mean, he was making, I think the first reception he had about 20 yards after contact, just breaking tackles, making guys miss an open field. So he definitely gets a dub of the week.
Yep.
I'm gonna give one. I think Jeremy Chin could definitely receive one, but I'm gonna go with our guy that's coming up on the show later, Mike Sainristil.
Yeah.
I thought Mike Sainristil was outstanding.
Yeah.
Yes.
Against 2 premier wide receivers in the National Football League, and A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith.
Who
he
traditionally
stood up.
had big games against us.
Had big games.
Right.
And he stood up.
Yeah.
They tried him a couple times on some fade routes in the end zone, back shoulders. He was in position to play both. Play the back shoulder and the fade in case they try to throw the fade ball. So I thought he played outstanding football. As you look at this game, losing to the Eagles, man, and we're talking about dubs a week and kind of switching up a little bit. Losing to the Eagles, losing to the Steelers. We're on a 2-game losing streak.
Yeah.
How do we get things corrected? How do we get this thing going in the right direction?
And it starts with one word first: relax.
Yeah.
Hey, guys, we knew coming into that, week of Pittsburgh and then a short week on a Thursday night against Philly. With B-Rob hurt against Pittsburgh, he didn't play, right? He came back, obviously, for the Eagles game. But that's a tough stretch. Yeah. Every team faces a tough stretch where it's a short week, great teams. Pittsburgh is awesome.
Yeah.
They're playing great this year. So for me, it's like we can get back on track. Obviously, we're going to talk about Dallas week, but we got to first think about it like, hey, we got to relax. I don't want everybody to think that, hey, we were supposed to be going to the Super Bowl right away. Teams have tough times.
Yeah, I look at it like this, man. Regardless of the simple fact that we lost, look who we lost against. The competition. Yeah. You got you got the best defense in the league in Philly.
Yep.
And then you have the top 3 defense in the league in Pittsburgh. And not only are these guys considered to be competitors when it comes to going into the postseason or fighting for that trophy, but we had a chance to win the game.
Both games.
In both games. Lost to Pittsburgh on the last 2 drives and lost to Philly after the fourth quarter. Like, we won into the fourth quarter with the lead.
If we get that 4th and 2 with Jalen, that's a totally different game.
So, relax is the key word. Yes, relax, but at the same time, understand that we have something brewing here, man. These guys are playing way ahead of schedule when it comes to what we expected. To myself personally, I didn't have these high expectations for this team coming into the season. Now, I wanted them to play well, but I didn't see us playing the way they play right now. They looking like a well-oiled machine each and every week. Now, did we go back a little bit offensively? Yes, but rightfully so because who we faced.
Yeah.
And I think we just got to get back on the board because if you think, to me, the number one denominator that hurt us from winning that game last week was not playing complimentary football. I think when you see our defense go out there, hold these guys to field goals, or miss field goals, and have that bend but not break mentality. Offense gotta come up, you gotta respond, gotta put points on the board. And
it was tough. Philly was number one.
It was, it was. But that's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Regardless of the fact that when you have that kind of a game, knowing that it's gonna be tough, you still got to come up with those plays. Yeah. So I just feel like that's what's been going on, and I hear a lot of the chirping.
That's what I'm saying. Relax.
You hear it.
Relax.
Relax is one thing, but also got to get healthy.
Yeah.
Yes,
got to get healthy, especially in the trenches along the offensive line. You saw kind of the effects of not having a healthy offensive line.
Yeah.
Against the Philadelphia Eagles, man. I mean, they got some boys on that defensive line, and they dictated the terms of the agreement.
Yeah.
I talk about no peace treaties and all that type of stuff. The Philadelphia defensive front, they were able to dictate the terms of that.
Wow.
And it was, we had some guys banged up. Biotis has been, he's dealing with, I think, 3 injuries. Coleman has an injury he's dealing with. Wiley, he's not 100%. And nobody's going to be 100% right now, but playing in that game, you can see the effects of it.
Because when we healthy against like the Giants, Dexter Lawrence, we look, and they were pretty good D-line.
We look a lot different.
Okay,
having those 3 days off, the extra time off before we get ready to play this game against the Cowboys, that's going to help us tremendously, and to get back to the identity of who we are and how we want to be, how we want to function as an offense. When you think about the 7 games that we've won, we average 35 rushing attempts per game.
Right.
35 rushing attempts per game. The games we've lost?
Under 30.
Under 25.
Right.
24 and a half rushing attempts per game.
Yeah.
Big difference. And
you're not dictating the terms at that point.
You're not dictating the terms and the yardage. I mean, we're averaging, in those wins, maybe about 180-plus yards rushing per game. And those losses, 87, and a lot of that is skewed because of the game 1 against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers when Jaden rushed for a bunch of yards. We ended up rushing for
86, I think, in that game.
Yeah, so a lot of that is even skewed. But if you really peel it back to these last 3 games, these last 3 losses, it's more in the 60s. It's more in the 60s, maybe 70s.
I mean, well, that brings up a point then. Do you think that teams now are saying we have to stop the run and force them to pass it?
Part of them not having B-Rob hurt us in Baltimore and Pittsburgh. Not having him. But it's a situation where you have to stay ahead of the chains. Third down situation. We're in a lot of third and longs.
Instead of we got to get some positive yards on first down.
We're a lot of third and mediums and higher as opposed to, let's call it 3rd and 4 or less in a game against Philly.
Yep.
We didn't convert a lot of 3rd downs. You have to stay ahead of the chains. You can't allow a team with a pass rush like Philly and the coverage schemes that they were playing. You can't allow them to operate in those 3rd and mediums and higher. We got to get back to playing our style of football, and one of the ways we can do that is by getting healthier as an offensive line.
All right, fellas, well, you know how we do this thing, man. It's time to talk drive time.
Yep.
It's time for drive time, presented by Eastern Automotive Group. Any car, any way, for everyone since 1988. And on this segment, man, we're gonna dive into this rivalry, man. The Cowboy rivalry.
Love it.
Means something.
It means a lot. What I'm gonna ask you guys before we get into the Cowboy rivalry, which rivalry or which team you thought was bigger, what was the bigger rivalry in our division? Whether it was Dallas, Philly, or the G-Men in New York?
Well, the one that was perceived the biggest from the fan base was Dallas and us because of the historical content of it. Teams winning Super Bowls, bunch of teams, those battles. We want Dallas. All those type of memories that brought up. So that was huge. Now, I had a greater disdain for the New York Giants because of the way I thought they were kind of arrogant, the way they tried to kind of carry themselves around, thought they were, better than us. But so it's from a fan base, the rivalry was bigger against the Cowboys. Me personally, I had a greater disdain for the Giants.
Yeah, I think you hit it on the head. I've always spoke about getting up for that Cowboy game. For some odd reason, I didn't get up the same way for the Philly game. But the Philly game was always one of them hard-fought games. Yeah. But the Giants, man, I hated playing those dudes. Like, it was something about, I don't know if it was the New York aspect of it or it was just, like you say, they walked around like they was arrogant, like it was just something different about them. Like, we didn't belong on the field with them. And at times, we act like we didn't belong on the field with them. But yeah, it was just something about that Cowboy game to me, like, like I say, I came into this rivalry clueless. Didn't have don't get me wrong, I grew up watching them play, watched Emmitt Smith run all up and down, and, you got guys like Darryl Green and Art Monk and Gary Clark them making plays in these games. But I had no clue about how meaningful it was. You know what I'm saying? Just coming from the AFC East, we had our own thing going over there when it came to New England and the Jets and, Buffalo and the Jets and the Dolphins, who, you name it. But when I got here and got a taste of that first year up in Dallas, to actually come away with a win and to see how the city responded to it, bro, it was like no other. And that right there set the tone for the future games, for me just realizing, like, look, man, no matter what's going on with you, be ready to play in this game because this is a meaningful game for the whole entire, city of D.C.
Well, for me, I was on both sides. It affected my life. With my dad playing for the Cowboys, like I'm fully in it and knew what it meant for the family, right? Like down there, like my dad and, being around Tom Landry and all those, like it was, crazy, right? So I grew up like really understanding from a little boy. And then I continued. That didn't change for when I played, right? So I'm just like, it means something to me still. Yeah. Like, I want to beat them.
Yeah.
I hated the Cowboys. One, probably like because I was going against T.O. or before that against Galloway, whoever I went against. And you talk about the Giants have arrogance. Man, the star, man, you can't you can't tell people anything about America's team, right? And I'm just like, well, we're in Washington, D.C., so we're America's team. But it's just, for me, it's Dallas because it affects your family, your neighbors, the city, and I've just seen the effect on it. And so I Dallas for me.
Yeah, the disdain I said having for the Giants. Nah, I balled out always against Philly. I balled out against all of them just to kind of let. But when the more meaningful games, the games that I remember the most, end up being against the Cowboys. First, I came here, was having our first game in Dallas against the Cowboys. Physical game, man. We got at it. Later that year, We play in the final game of the season. Need to win that game.
Field goal.
Yeah. No. Not that was the
block
year
field
before.
goal.
That was
That was 06. Okay.
So
right.
we beat them.
Yeah, in a rain game late.
Late in the season, they came in. I mean, we shut them down.
Oh, I know what you're
Ended up beating
talking
them by
about.
21
Yeah.
points. The whole
Yeah.
Sean
I remember that
Taylor.
game,
That
yeah.
was the year Sean.
Yeah, that was the year Sean
Scott
passed,
died. I can remember 2012 ended this winner
the
take
season,
all
yeah.
for the division. Man, what a game again! Like, so there's been we closed their stadium. Last time we played in the old Cowboys Stadium, Tyler.
Yep.
I think you might have still. Were you still on the team when we went down there?
No. I left in 09.
Oh, so you weren't on that team when we went down there and closed that stadium out with a victory.
That's what's up. Brother.
Last time we were there, but it's gonna be a physical game
this week.
regardless of the records. Don't get caught up in Cowboys they're 3-7 and we're 7-4.
Yeah.
It's gonna be a crazy game. There'll be a lot of Cowboys fans at the stadium. It's just how it is. Unfortunately we got a lot of them fans around here, but it's gonna be a great atmosphere.
Yeah, speaking of just that memory of that Thanksgiving game, man, that was in 2012.
Oh, I forgot. I didn't even mention the Thanksgiving game.
The Thanksgiving game in 2012. I mean, it's crazy because I still sit here and me and my uncle talk about it all the time, and folks would ask me all the time, Tanner, like, when you scored that touchdown in 2000, who you was talking to? When you getting after the fans? And I say, no, bro. I say, so I have family in Dallas, and that's one of the reasons that I'm pretty sure people want to know why I get up for that game. It don't matter where it's at, but in Dallas, it was always something bigger for me because my family they're not from there, they're from Miami, but they was based there. And they would be at the game. And that particular Thanksgiving game in 2012, I remember buying tickets and trying to ask the ticket guy, give me some tickets in this end zone right here. I mean, I planned it. I'm gonna score in this. I'm gonna score in
You're
this.
a bad man. You're a bad man,
Bro,
Tanner. You're telling people
it's crazy.
I'm gonna score over here.
It's crazy, bro. And now you got to think my role is, drastically different.
Yeah,
I'm just a third down guy, and I'm coming on third down. And I remember when we got the ball right before half, and Kyle called the Gator package. I said, this is my chance. I got to score. I don't know if we're going to get back in this. And we were driving. We already in the red zone. We driving. And when he called that sprint right option, I said, oh, this is my touch. It's time. I got to score. This is my play.
That catch, man, that throw, like you said, blew you. I'm sure you've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyler, he catches it.
I caught it here, and I made sure my toe stayed in.
It
was something unreal, man.
Yeah, I had a pick of that game, too. In case you wanted to know.
I wasn't thinking about that, but I'm quite sure you
I balled out. I had a pick of that game, too.
Okay.
When we come back, we'll be checking out this week's matchup against the Cowboys at our house.
Welcome back to the Players Club. Fellas, it's my favorite segment. It's time to set the tone. Brought to you by Johnson Kendall Johnson, the official insurance broker and risk management partner of the Washington Commanders, where our passion is your protection. We're going to set the tone, man, by looking at this game against the Dallas Cowboys. All right, fellas. We got a lot of former Dallas Cowboys
on his team.
Part of the burgundy and gold now.
Yeah.
Obviously, head coach Dan Quinn, he came from the Cowboys wearing that star at one point in time, but that's a different story. Joe Wood Jr., defensive coordinator. Got a few former players.
Noah Brown,
Fowler, Armstrong, Biotish. All of us, we played for multiple teams. We had the opportunity to play against our former teams.
That's right.
What's it like playing against your former teams?
You love it. It's big. It means it means something, and especially when you think about what Coach Quinn has brought to this organization, what Dallas is not doing.
Yeah.
So, if I'm from the Cowboys' perspective, they pissed, they upset, right? From the Washington, from our perspective, and from the coaching perspective, and Joe Witt, they're like, I love those guys, but these my new boys right here. I'm riding with these guys right now. So, man, and then the players. From a player perspective, man, it's like sometimes you feel like, oh, you ain't want me.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, you ain't want me, right? Okay. Yeah. Or I chose to leave, and I'm glad I'm here because I'm about to go put something on you. So it's gonna be nice, man, and it's gonna be interesting seeing how some of the Coach Quinn's former players, Coach Witt's former players, how they react towards the game, because it's going to be some emotion.
Yeah.
We know that.
Well, speaking about some of those guys over there who's going to still have a lot of love for, Coach Quinn, because I've already
emotion towards him,
I've already saw a couple of podcasts with Michael Parsons talking about, damn, you see Quinn over there, man, them boys. He's like, and he talked openly about he would run through a wall for Coach Quinn. So, but it's going to be hard. I think it's going to be defensive-minded guys like you guys, y'all probably have a different perspective of playing against y'all former teams, because defense, I feel like as a defensive guy, even when I played the game, I got a chance to go out and, I guess you can say, be an aggravator. Aggravate the things that they want to do.
Impact the game.
I can impact it a lot different. Offensively, I can't hold no chip or feel like I want to do something more so, because it don't always pan out that way for offensive guys, especially being
a receiver.
Especially being a receiver.
Now, if you're
you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Or
I remember facing the Jets, man. I never had anything to really. I was actually kind of nervous going into those games, and not to say that I was scared to play them. It was more so on I want to just do my part and get out of this game. I don't want to have to go in this game when people thinking, because everybody want to come to you with you're playing your former team. They was making the thing bigger than what I was making.
I was making it big.
I'm gonna come here,
but
I'm coming to play football. I didn't look at the helmet, what you call them. I just wanted to play against that next team, and it just so happened to be the Jets when I was playing against them. So I went into those games kind of like with no expectations, just wanting to go out and be productive. You know what I mean? When the ball came my way, make the plays, try to get in that paint. That's what we do as receivers. Try to get in that paint and move the chains. But I can only imagine what Armstrong feeling, Fowler feeling. Those guys are disruptors. They want to go out there and disrupt things regardless of what's going on over there in Dallas.
Well, let me ask you this, though. Tana, as an offensive player, did you go against any DBs that was your boys?
Nah, so by that time I went against the Jets, it was crazy. It was Reeves' first year. He was a rookie.
Right.
And I remember coming from that game. So my homeboy, everybody know I talk about him all the time, Bo. Y'all both know Bo.
Yeah.
Bo, me and grew up in Carol City. We was tight since high school. He played DB, I played receiver. It's crazy. It's odd for a receiver and a DB to be tight like that. But it was like four of us. But me and him kind of branched off and made it further than the other two. Bo played for the Giants for 2 years, then went off to play in Canada. We talked so much football. I hadn't watched no film about this dude called Reeves.
From Pittsburgh.
And he telling me, boy, you play Reeves this week, boy. He good. And I'm like, okay, he's a rookie. Like,
Right.
And man, when I came out of that game, I was like, boy, I got to call this dude. This might be the best DB I ever played against.
Wow.
Reeves ain't lock you up, did he?
No, I had like 6 catches for like 70 yards or something like that. And it could have been a game winner. Remember, you was playing then. It was 07. Your boy Jason Campbell overthrew me on the stutter go on Reeves. Yeah. And he threw the damn ball in the damn stands. I was so mad because that could have won the game. We ended up winning the game
in overtime.
Overtime.
Yeah.
In New York. But I got on that phone. I didn't even get on the bus. I'm walking down the tunnel.
Nice.
That boy gonna be bad. Like he gonna, and I stamped it that day. I say, man, that might have been the toughest outing I ever had. Like I fought for every yard.
Not smooth.
What you say? Easy money was smooth.
Easy, man. I'm not necessarily for you.
Man, going against my former team, a lot of it depends on how you left.
Yeah.
Under what circumstances, terms. I was a free agent when I left St. Louis, and they didn't want to pay me the type of money that I felt I was deserving to get.
Right.
They had a lot of money invested in the offense. So when I went to Buffalo, and we played the Rams in the preseason. Like third preseason game.
Right.
And this is...
Oh, so you playing for real. So this for real.
Yeah, I'm playing into the second half.
Right.
Man, I had 10 tackles in the first half. I see Torrey Holt, who my boy beforehand.
Yeah.
Torrey want to chop it up and kick before the game. And I tell people, I was telling Maddie and Kayla and all of them, I don't believe in small talk before a game. I'm not that guy.
It was your eyes red, big Fletch. Eyes red, ready to go.
coming to me, what's up, Fletch? I say, listen, man, I can't wait to knock your out. That's just it is what it is. Hey,
what T-Ho say?
Damn.
That's how you feel?
He said, word. Word. Hey, Torrey catch a little ball. He coming on side. Man, I get penalized right now for the type of hit I tried to put on him. Dude, I'm not playing with you. Fast forward when I came here my first year in Washington, 07, we played the Bills.
Yeah, we played them. Was that
the first game after Sean Payton?
That's
Yeah,
a 10-man game.
after Sean Payton,
So totally different circumstance. I wasn't mentally, I couldn't be in the space I needed to. Like, I didn't have the hatred that I know.
Yeah, we were in a different space. We were
just
in a different space.
We played them again later now. I put up 20 tackles on them against them. In Toronto. We lost, but I put in my work. But, man, you gonna feel that way against your former team, man. You circle those games. I don't care. I know Armstrong knew when they came over here. All those guys, they knew, hey, we're going to get 2 opportunities to go against the Dallas Cowboys. And for whatever reason it was, I'm no longer there. Either they didn't feel like I was part of their long-term future, or they didn't pay me, or whatever the case may be. You are looking forward to this game.
You said something that was key, though. That terms really kind of dictate how that game is, perceived to you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you leave on good terms, like, for myself, being that I was traded, I wasn't traded because I wasn't worthy. I was traded because it was a way for me to get paid. So I never even had nothing, no malice about it. Like, I'm like, well, man, I'm going to see.
They basically looked out for you.
No, and well, they didn't, because I was going to stay. I was trying to stay. Okay. And then it was just my agent was like playing hardball, like, nah, we want to go. So it ended up being a great trade because you got Coles back there. He wanted to be back there. And I wanted just to be paid and go somewhere where I was going to be, appreciated more. So, but that's a good way to put it, because when you face your old teams, it normally – the guys that left there on bad terms be the ones that want blood. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
The ones that left on good terms, you like, man, hey, what's up, man? Y'all good? Life is good over here. I'm trying to have a good game,
Yeah, let's look at this Cowboys offense going against our defense. Minus Dak Prescott, he's out for the year.
Yeah.
Y'all see the Cowboys, watch the Monday Night Football, seen some of the things they're going through. When you look at this offense, y'all feel like there's some opportunities for us defensively to kind of shine?
So I'm one of those guys, and I'm not petty, or I don't hold grudges. But I do remember Cooper Rush putting the show on 2 years ago on us. So we owe him. I know it's a different staff, but this organization owe him. Because, boy, he embarrassed us in Dallas.
He said he's not petty, but you remember, he's petty.
I'm just saying.
I'm just saying. About somebody said something.
I did.
Man, you
but
petty.
I am a little petty.
There's some opportunity.
Let me tell y'all a story. I don't know that I ever told y'all this, right? So that game, that was 2-3 years ago?
Yeah, like.
So it was we played Dallas. It was a bad weather coming down to that area. So I go early to Dallas. I land, I get my rental car, I'm driving to the hotel. This is my first time ever telling this story. This is Players Club exclusive.
Yeah.
So when I land, I get a call from Dan Snyder. And so Dan, like I'm answering the phone, like, hey, what's up, Dan? He's like, London, I need you to talk to the team before we get to play the Cowboys. I'm like, all right, man. I had talked to the team a couple times before. We had some good success in those times that I talked to them.
Gave him an L
He's like, London, I need you to give him I need you to get it to him. I'm like, all right, man, I got you. So I get what I thought was a hell of a pregame, a hell of a night before. How'd you walk in? Hell of a night before the game. Speech on Saturday night.
How'd you walk in? How you walk in the room? No.
Well, I'm sitting in the front of the room, and Ron do his spiel and like, hey, we got London gonna talk to y'all. So I do what I did. So you talk about Cooper Rush, and at that point in time, our corners were playing. We had a tendency to play off
like a mug.
So I tell them, I said, man, stop playing off, man. You need to challenge these.
And they got killed. Oh my God! And I said, don't give no more speeches.
Hey, listen. Hey, you know that situation where the surgery was a success, but the patient died. No. So man, I think they had so many PIs, but at least they challenged them.
Bro.
Hey, that was an opportunity.
So it got to a point that game where CeeDee Lamb was catching balls wide open, backing into the end zone, and Cooper Rush looked at like what he did to us. Everybody caught on.
He gonna throw the CeeDee Lamb down.
But I understand that. So getting back to what we should be expecting, I think he's a capable backup quarterback in this league. What we do defensively is going to disrupt a lot for him. And they have a lot of beat-up guys on the offensive line. The thing that's problem them right now offensively is they're one-dimensional. When you can't run the ball, it's hard to just drop back and fool somebody passing.
Oh, yeah.
We saw that last year with Sam, what I got, Sam Howell. So that's what I'm seeing right now. This team, I think they're the 31st team in rushing yards, and they 7th or 8th in passing. So that means they capable of throwing that thing around. But defensively, what we do, we disrupt them up front, and we play some lockdown type of style.
We're a lot better. We're a lot better on that back end.
We're a lot better. But Joe Witt, with his understanding of seeing those guys every day, he understands his strength and weakness, especially of the play calling and what the quarterback can do.
Yeah.
Right. So naturally, he's gonna go in the game and say, "CeeDee Lamb, you ain't gonna beat us."
Yeah.
Right. You're not gonna beat us.
Yeah.
We know that. So I expect us to scheme up some things based on his fact that he knows the strength of Cooper Rush and what he can and cannot do, and the fact that he can. Oh, we better in the back end now. We got
Armstrong and Fowler gonna have big sack days.
Okay, I like that.
Yeah.
All right,
that.
so y'all talk about understanding our offense going against this Cowboys defense.
Yep.
Dan Quinn, Joe Witt, they coached this defense a year ago with the Cowboys.
Yeah.
He knows intimately. They know intimately the strengths.
Those players.
Well, no, they know the players though.
The players.
They know intimately the strengths and weaknesses of those, especially on the back end.
Yep.
Whether it's Trayvon Diggs or I don't know if Bland going to be able to play or where their status is and some of those situations. Like, you understand the strengths and weaknesses. You know Michael Parsons.
Yes.
Yeah.
His strengths and weaknesses.
A record.
So how to attack him. When you look at our offense going against this Cowboys defense, can we get back on track offensively against these Cowboys?
Yeah, we're going to run the ball.
You gave a stat earlier.
Yeah, we're going to run the ball.
If it's over 30 carries, we win.
Yeah.
If it's under 25 carries, we lose. If you look at Dallas defense, they've been getting ran all over. People have been making explosive plays against their defense. In the run. I'm not talking about explosive pass. I'm just talking about giving up explosive runs.
Yeah.
That's a problem.
Yeah.
That's not fixed in a week.
Yeah.
They got some bigger issues that need to be fixed. So I know the mindset got to be coming in, and Coach Lynn and those guys are looking at it like, we got to get some.
Yeah, I think Michael Parsons is going to always be him. He's special. He's a guy that, you probably primarily want to run at times, just to get him from being the disruptor that he is. But when you talk about splash plays, minimizing splash plays, that's all they're giving up. They're giving up big, huge chunks of games. So in a run game, this might be one of those games where we say, B-Rob, okay, you got a lot of rest. You was off the week before. You played on a Thursday night, so you had 10 days to to kind of like lick your wounds a little bit.
I thought B-Rob looked good against
Still
Philly.
look phenomenal. You know what I mean, for the carries that we gave him.
Right.
But I think this is one of those games where he get back into the groove of what he did earlier this year.
Well, to that point though, before you get started, does Dallas be more aggressive now and say, listen, it's all we on a 5-game losing streak. Let's just throw the kitchen sink at them.
Yeah, I was gonna say they're gonna be throwing because they tried to trick play last week against.
I'm just talking about be super aggressive on defense.
Well,
they're gonna gear it up, to stop the run. They're gonna play we're gonna see a lot of single high coverage. Yeah. Can our receivers win outside when we have to throw the football?
Mm-hmm.
But more importantly, are we gonna be able to block them? The thing about Dallas, when I look at their defense, and you asked me this off camera, what has been Dallas's problem in stopping the run? They got a lot of speed on their defense.
Right.
They're built first and foremost to play with a lead, to be in pass rush situations, and they thought that's what they would be in a lot this season based off what they had a year ago, Dak Prescott. So they're not built to defend 35, 40 runs per game.
They're built to
but
cover.
they also are not built to defend offenses that really come downhill at them, run the football. If you're going to run sideline to sideline against them, they'll stop you. Against the 49ers, I think it was the 49ers or even maybe the Falcons. Maybe it's Falcons. Falcons, one of the best rushing teams in the league. They ran 30 times against them, but they only got 100 yards, but a lot of it was because they were running sideline to sideline. They were running at an outside zone. You want to run and have success against the Dallas Cowboys, it needs to be more downhill type runs, more power, gap type of run scheme.
Run that duo.
Yeah, all that trying to run sideline to sideline or run sideways, that's not going to bode well.
Especially away from Michael Parsons.
I like running at him.
Yeah, that's what I said.
That's what I'm saying. If you try to run sideline away from him,
run. But not even just Parsons. They got some guys, they'll get penetration, they run. but run at them. And I'm sure that's what they've. When we look at this run game and put the run game in, this is the way you defend those guys. There will be situations where you have to throw the football. Blocking Micah Parsons.
Yep.
Yeah.
How we gonna deal with him?
Yeah.
Throwing away from Trayvon Diggs, who's coming home.
Yeah.
This is home.
Maryland
he's Maryland guy.
From Maryland.
No, he's Maryland, DMV kid.
Yeah.
So he's.
Well, Terry
played against us.
plays big against him, and it's two guys that's in our division that Terry normally have good outings on. That's Slay that he didn't have to see last week because they had the young kid on him, and so
And by the way,
yeah,
the coverages that the Eagles was playing didn't allow.
it was totally different. Yeah, it wasn't no man on man coverage.
Yeah.
Like, I don't get caught up in all that stuff.
Yeah,
people,
I just had to put that out there.
People love to
for
put
all the fans.
they cut and paste these doggone reels and look at this, man, bro, that ain't how the game going, man.
Right.
But I tell folks all the time, you can have some of the top cornerbacks in this league. Sean was a top cornerback at one point in time in this league. He can't tell you he's not always man-to-man with somebody. Every now and then, it might dictate for him to be man. But at times, it's in games where you got somebody over the top of you. Well, that's something different. and in them days, y'all had to cover a dude for more than, 6 seconds? More than that, right?
You trying to bring back PTSD?
Keep on, man.
No, but what I was saying
has big games
Terry loves going up against Diggs. I'm not saying it's something that he said openly, but it just seems like when he goes against Diggs one of those guys, man. He has great ball skills. Diggs reminds me of a Patrick Peterson. Those guys are tremendous when the ball is in the air. They're going to give up some, and they're going to take some away from you.
A little bit for me, it would be Cromartie.
Cromartie too, yeah. But I'm just talking about like far as how dominant these guys was in their prime. Yeah. Patrick was dominant in his prime. Diggs is dominant in his prime, but at times Diggs, that one year when Diggs had all those picks and stuff, he gave up the most yards in the league. Per game. So
we got to touch on Jaden a little bit.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. He was off against the Eagles.
That's two games. I think in a row.
For whatever the reason, being DQ says he's not hurt, so
I think we know the reason. I mean, can I speak on why we think the reason is?
Hold on, let me. So DQ said he's not hurt.
Yeah.
So we don't believe he's hurt, but what part of? He said missed practice opportunity.
Yeah.
Full speed practice.
I was going to say that.
He felt like that was the bigger issue.
Yeah.
What do you think it was?
Well, you talk about getting in these third long situations. Then we talk about not being able to, we didn't run the ball against the Eagles' #1 defense and Jalen Carter and what they're doing in Pittsburgh. You said it. We can't be getting ourselves in third and long, getting off the field, losing rhythm of it. So I think it's like establishing our run, at least strong positive yards on first down. So, in other words, let's stay out of third and long. What we reflected on. That's what I think it's like. Well, you in trouble.
That's true, and I think too more so. We fail to realize. I mean, I'm pretty sure you guys don't, but as fans, they don't understand. And you went against the top five, defenses. Mm-hmm. So yes, it's going to be more of a strain than what it was before. But with that being said, he still had times and opportunities at times where the first game guys dropped balls. Last week, it was a little more so being off here and there, and I took more of that so off of being short week and rust. You know what I mean? Because when you don't get those live opportunities,
full speed
opportunities, it's hard to have that timing that you had throughout the week.
And Tana, you're great to touch on this, and we're going to wrap this up real quick, but people don't understand, like, with that short week, you had that very physical game against the Steelers.
Yeah.
The practices leading up to the game against the Eagles were kind of walkthroughs.
Maybe,
glorified walkthroughs in a sense. You as a receiver and a quarterback, the timing of the ball he short hopped to Noah Brown on the deep crossing route.
Yeah.
Was that the first time they ran a full speed was in the game on Thursday night, or some of the other throws where,
or if they did, not much.
Yeah.
Maybe 10 plays. Right.
So just from a timing standpoint, that makes a difference.
Yeah.
All right, fellas, that's a wrap of previewing this matchup against the Dallas Cowboys. When we come back, we got Mike Sainristil, a Bluefoot nemesis. He went to Michigan.
Yeah, that's okay.
He's going to join us on the show next.
Jackson in the gun, Justice Hill to his right. Two wide receivers make that three to the left. Rashad Bateman solo to the right. Here's a snap to Jackson, throws into the slot, off the hands of Mark
interception.
Picked off by Mike Sainristil, running the other way, 35-40, cuts back, He's held up by Jackson and gets out to midfield. The first interception of the season goes to the rookie Sainristil.
This is your Ice Cold Player, brought to you by Pepsi, the official soft drink of the Washington Commanders.
Welcome back to the Players Club. As promised, we got Mikey Sainristil joining us, man. Mikey, we appreciate you joining us.
I appreciate y'all for having me, man.
This dude like Clark Kent, man. He put the glasses on.
Superman. Very studious.
Studious. Then when he get on that field,
he's
like you put that S on your chest, man. Anybody ever said anything like that to you?
Yeah, a few times I've heard, like, off the field, you got the glasses on, you're real calm, just chill. And then when you step on the field, you're somebody else. Like, what is it about you that? And really, my answer is just like, when you get on that field, you got to turn into that dog. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, you got to tap into that mode. So, when you're on that field, like, you've all experienced it. Like, you just become something else.
Right.
Yeah.
And that, like, to me, that's kind of just like your alter ego a little bit. And then when you get back off the field, you just kick it.
Right.
Where did that start, though? I mean, we all, because I swear I just did a show prior to this show, and I was telling BC, I felt that way about myself. Cool, calm, and collective, off the field. You get between them white lines, man. It's something about that game, something about being on that field turns you into that extra guy or that other guy. When did that start for you?
I think I've just always kind of been like that since a little kid, being an undersized kid or whatever narratives was around me when I was little. Just, all right, when I step on that field, I'm going to show you something else. You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm going to prove to me that I'm not what y'all think I am.
Bingo.
So just playing with that chip on my shoulder, like, all right, guys think they could bully me, they could do this or that. Nah, it's not going to be like that. You know what I'm saying? So
We ain't going there.
Exactly.
We ain't going there. And you're thinking about size, right? Obviously, they talk about big, 6-foot-long corners, but it's all about making plays. I honestly thought you probably were the best pound for pound, the best player in the draft. Going into thinking about that, playing at Michigan, playing inside, playing outside, you were a nickel. Tell us about, like, just your game and your skill set.
Just playing with, a whole bunch of instincts. I was, making the transition from receiver to nickel. I wasn't really familiar with all the defensive and cornerback techniques, right away. So it was just kind of just being able to step in there. All right, what I know I can give y'all is maximum effort. I'm going to give y'all leadership. And I'm just go out there and make the plays that come my way, you know what I'm saying? And then within time, I'm going to learn the techniques. I'm going to take the coaching. I'm going to take the criticism. But for right now, it's just about, going out there and just playing fast, playing hard for my teammates. And I think at that time was the best way for me to have success. And then the following year, going into that offseason was very technical for me.
Right.
Which is why my final season at Michigan, I was able to have 6 interceptions, 2 forced fumbles. Just the game became much slower for me.
Okay.
You talk about that transition from receiver to nickel. Now, not sure, when did that, come about. I've always spoke highly about being a corner as a kid. Growing up in Little Park Warner, played corner, corner, safety, played little receiver. But that was my true love at corner. And to me, it made receiver easy because it wasn't just that easy, but it was just I saw things differently at the receiver position. What was that like for you? When did that change come about, and how did it make you a better corner, being that you was a receiver once before?
Yeah, so that change happened going into my senior season, so my 4th season. Coach Harbaugh just called me up at the end of the season, or right before spring ball. He was like, I want you to play some nickel. We could try it out. If you don't like it, you go back to receiver, but I think you could have a lot of success. And he said, you remind me of a guy that I coached named Jimmy Ward. I didn't really know who Jimmy Ward was at the time, but I started watching film on him, studying his game a little bit. But when you have a coach like Coach Harbaugh who mentions something like that to you, it's not for no reason. So I kind of I was like, I fully locked in on it. But I think the way it helped me out was just being able to understand how offenses call plays, where they put receivers on the field, how they use their X factor, and then just knowing how a receiver plays football. What he's comfortable with, being able to see concepts, see how the flow of the game is, and just putting myself in those positions. That way I could just anticipate and just be where I'm supposed to be.
When you see a guy like Travis Hunter doing what he's able to do, playing the entire game, playing both ways, offense, defense, you kind of look back and say, dang it, man, they could have used me in that way, and maybe I could have won, a Heisman Trophy or been up for a Heisman Trophy.
Yeah, what he's doing is special. You know what I'm saying? I tip my hat off to Travis, man, that's phenomenal what he's doing. Like, that's not easy. He's playing 100+ snaps a game, both ways, and having, high level success. But I've definitely, while I was there at Michigan, I told the coaches, like, look, I could still do both ways. You know what I'm saying? Like, don't get it confused. I could still play receiver. So actually, my final season, spring game, they had a few different guys who was, you could play offense and defense for. I was only limited to, I think, one drive. So they was like, all right, well, do we want to use you on offense? Do we want to use you on defense? So in one of the practices, I went to receiver. They threw me one pass. I caught it for a touchdown. The coach was like, all right, Mikey, you can't play offense. Straight defense.
You done.
He was like, you done.
You might look too good. They might want you over there. They might want you over there.
How has your rookie season been so far with Washington?
I'm loving it, man. Just, huge appreciation for the staff and everything they've done for us. And then huge appreciation for the vets. I think the culture that they've, built here and allowed us rookies to step into has made, playing football here so much easier for us. And I think winning, of course, is always the number one thing. When you're winning, when you're having fun winning, it makes coming to work so much easier, so much better. And, you can just be yourself around everyone here. And, this is like the perfect situation that I wanted to be a part of was, staff who cares about the players who care about each other, and it's a true brotherhood. And the fan base is amazing. So it's like, we have everything we need to be successful.
You just talk about that brotherhood, and I swear I was about to ask that question.
We've heard it, but everybody who's come in here talks about it.
So what I want to ask you a little bit, it's going to be a little different. Talk about the brotherhood. We heard it from so many people, so I'm not going to ask you in particular about the brotherhood. But what is it like now to add a guy, Marshawn Lattimore, to this brotherhood? Like, how have you guys kind of connected with him so far in the meeting rooms? And just, what are you doing picking his brain wise? Because, you're a young guy. I'm pretty sure this guy is a, 4-time Pro Bowler. How has it been since he's been in that meeting room with you guys now?
Yeah, so, I've already asked him questions about, how he plays the game, what he sees when he's out there, what helps him have success at corner. But, Marshawn, so he's real quiet. But we've seen what he looks like on the field. Straight dog, attitude.
Different dude on the field,
right? So it's kind of cool to see, like, at firsthand what someone who's very relaxed and chill, quiet, not to himself, but it's also a little adjustment period, coming to a new team, new faces. But, he'll talk when you talk to him. But I think being able to have someone like him in the room, there's a lot of knowledge and wisdom and experience coming from a guy like him. For myself as a young guy, really just everybody in the room, someone who's played in them big games. He brings a lot to us. So it's great to have him. I can't wait for him to get back healthy so he could get on the field with us.
Doubt.
And, we just be out there making plays together.
For a rookie, man, you real poised, man. You like a vet already.
Yeah.
Moment doesn't seem too big for this guy at all. And I noticed that in college, you seen him make plays in the big game. And in Baltimore, big game. It was the biggest game of the season at the time. You made a play. You got your first interception against Lamar Jackson, man.
Yeah.
Walk us through it. What was it like, man? You smiling.
So it's funny because one of my real close friends, BT, call him Fox, he texted me that morning, or it was the night before, he said, your first interception against Lamar Jackson is going to be crazy. He texted me that.
Wow.
And
spoke it into existence.
Yeah. And, I think the words are very powerful. The morning of the national championship, I recorded myself saying I'm going to catch an interception in this game. And it happened, you know what I'm saying? So, but going back to that question, like, it was great, you know what I'm saying? Like, caught my first interception against the MVP.
Oh, my God, go through on that thing. You were trying to get up out of there.
I was trying to get out of there.
Turned into an offensive player.
And there's only two quarterbacks I think that can make that tackle is Lamar and Jaden. You know what I'm saying? So, like, but it was great. We fought hard that game. We learned a lot about ourselves in that game. We were able to learn from that game and just move forward. But it was a great, I'm glad I was able to get my first one under my belt, and just ready for the next ones. Making sure
they gonna come now.
Bluefoot. You Ohio State guy, Michigan guy. The big game, D game is coming up next weekend. I'm gonna let you deal with that question, that topic.
I'm surprised he didn't bring it up himself.
No, that's my guy. I'm not. A lot of people don't know I committed to Michigan. They end up going to the better school, but I'm not even gonna bring it up because Michigan is not relevant this year for us to talk about that.
The Ohio State-Michigan rivalry It's next weekend in Columbus.
We won the last 18 out of 20.
What do you expect? What do you expect in that game?
Look, it's a rivalry game. You know what I'm saying? It's a rivalry game. I'm expecting good football. Yeah. Literally anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? Like, it don't matter if one team is 11-0 going into that game or 1-10.
Yeah.
That game, anything literally can happen. I think that's just rivalry football. No matter, because both teams bring their best punches. But I'm outnumbered here in this organization. I got 5 dudes from Ohio State down in the locker room.
That's why we winning.
I got, you know what I'm saying? Like,
That's why we winning.
I'm in here. I'm holding on my own down here. So,
hey man, we appreciate you. Hey, Mikey, with all our guests we have on the show, we asked them to sign the football for us, man. We appreciate you putting your autograph on that football, man.
We had Jonathan Allen early. He took up all the space.
He thought it was just gonna be him.
Don't worry about him.
Hey man, well, we appreciate you joining us on the Players Club. That's it. That'll do it.
So I appreciate y'all.
Yeah, man.